The U.S. Air Force has the most advanced fighter jets on the planet. F-35s flying combat missions over Iran every single day of Operation Epic Fury. F-22s on standby, B-2 stealth bombers already proven over the campaign, and when it came time to reopen the world's most strategically important waterway, the Pentagon reached past all of them and sent an attack helicopter. General Dan Caine, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, confirmed on March 19th that AH-64 Apache attack helicopters have joined operations across the southern flank of the Hormuz corridor, working alongside A-10 Warthogs and regional allied forces. That decision was not made by accident. The Apache is not a consolation prize. It is the right tool for a very specific set of problems that fighter jets are structurally unable to solve. Understanding why tells you something important about the geometry of this fight. Fighter jets are built for speed. That speed is their greatest asset against other aircraft, against radar-guided missiles, against threats that require supersonic response. But speed becomes a liability when the target you are hunting is a drone flying at 100 knots, 50 feet above the water, weaving between coastal features. An F-35 flying at its minimum operational airspeed is still moving 3 times faster than that drone. By the time a fighter pilot identifies, acquires, and fires on a low, slow drone target, the geometry has already changed. The fighter has overshot. The drone is somewhere else. The same problem applies to Iran's explosive-laden drone boats, unmanned surface vessels that sprint toward tankers at 30 to 40 knots before detonating on contact. A fighter jet cannot hover above a drone boat and wait for the right engagement angle. It cannot slow down to walking pace to maintain a targeting solution on a small surface target in congested coastal waters. It flies 1 pass, maybe 2 if fuel allows, and then it has to go home. The Apache can hover, it can orbit, it can stalk a target for minutes, not seconds, and wait for the moment when a clean shot is possible without risk to nearby civilian shipping. And then there is the endurance problem. Carrier-launched F-35s are operating from the Abraham Lincoln and Gerald Ford in the open ocean, too valuable to risk inside the Gulf. An F-35, burning through a mission profile at range, has roughly 40 minutes of usable patrol time over the Hormuz corridor before it must return. The AH-64E Apache Guardian, operating from a regional land base, carries enough fuel for a mission duration approaching 2 to 2.5 hours. In a waterway where threats appear without warning and disappear back into coastal geography in minutes, the difference between 40 minutes and 2 hours is not a marginal improvement. It is a different category of capability. Start with the sensor suite, because that is what makes the Apache so effective in this environment. The AH-64E Guardian carries the Target Acquisition and Designation System, TADS, which provides thermal imaging, laser rangefinding, and target tracking at ranges out to 8 kilometers. At night, in haze, making the kind of low-visibility conditions that Iran has been exploiting for its drone boat operations, the Apache crew can identify and engage a target that a human observer on a ship deck would never see coming. The primary weapon is the AGM-114 Hellfire missile, a laser-guided fire-and-forget anti-armor weapon that has found a second life as the most reliable tool for engaging fast-moving surface targets at range. The Apache can carry up to 16 of them across 4 wing pylons. At a reported cost of around $70,000 per missile, engaging a drone boat that might cost a few $100,000 is an acceptable exchange ratio. Compare that to the cost of a single F-35 sortie at $44,000 per flight hour, plus the missile, for a target that the F-35 may not even have time to properly engage before it overflies the kill zone. Below the Hellfire capability sits the M230 chain gun, a 30mm automatic cannon firing 625 rounds per minute. It is the backup for targets too close or too small for a Hellfire engagement, and it is devastating against the kind of small surface threats the IRGC has been deploying. A drone boat attempting to close on a tanker at 30 knots has no meaningful defense against an Apache that has been tracking it for 3 minutes from 8 kilometers and then closes to chain gun range. The AH-64E Guardian, the latest variant confirmed to be operating in the region, adds another capability that previous Apaches lacked. It can control unmanned aircraft directly from the cockpit, effectively extending its sensor reach beyond visual range without requiring additional aircraft overhead. In a corridor where Iran has been using drone networks to coordinate attacks on commercial shipping, the ability to put an Apache in the air that can both engage targets and manage a drone overwatch layer simultaneously is significant. The full picture of how the A-10, the Apache, the LCS Minehunters, and the USS Tripoli's Marines all fit together into a single coordinated answer to the Strait problem. That is a breakdown on its own. Subscribe if you want that analysis. We build these equations every week. Oh, now what the Apaches are actually targeting. According to General Caine's confirmed briefing on March 19th, the Apaches at Hormuz are executing 3 distinct mission sets simultaneously. The first is counter-drone operations, intercepting Iran's one-way attack UAVs before they reach tankers, airports, and energy infrastructure across the Gulf region. Reports confirm that both U.S. Apaches and regional allied forces using their own AH-64s have been engaged in this mission. Israel has long employed the Apache in the counter-drone role, and the capability has been expanded significantly in recent years to address the precise threat Iran is now deploying at scale. The second mission is direct maritime interdiction, engaging IRGC fast attack craft and explosive drone boats before they can reach commercial shipping in the corridor. This is the mission that most naturally fits the Apache's sensor and Hellfire combination. The ability to loiter above the waterway at low altitude, acquire a surface target at 8 kilometers, track it as it maneuvers through coastal geography, and deliver a precision Hellfire strike without threatening nearby civilian vessels is exactly what this environment demands. Fighter jets cannot hover. The Apache was built for this. The third mission is geographically separate, but operationally connected. General Caine confirmed that in Iraq, AH-64 Apaches have been striking Iranian-aligned militia groups to suppress threats against U.S. forces and interests across the region. Iran's strategy in this conflict has never been purely about the Strait. It is about multiplying pressure across every theater where it has proxy forces. Apaches operating against those militia drone networks in Iraq are removing one of the indirect mechanisms by which Iran keeps the cost of the war elevated for U.S. forces. The question at the top of this video was why the Pentagon reached past its most advanced fighter jets and sent an attack helicopter to reopen the world's most important waterway. The answer is not that fighter jets are inferior. It is that the problem at the Strait of Hormuz in March 2026 is not a fighter jet problem. Iran's air force is largely combat ineffective. There is no peer threat in the sky requiring supersonic intercept capability. What exists at the Strait is a collection of cheap, slow, dispersed threats: drone boats, kamikaze UAVs, IRGC fast attack craft, operating in confined coastal geography at low altitude and low speed. Against that threat set, shoot of the Apache's combination of extended loiter time, low-altitude sensor superiority, 16 Hellfire missiles, chain gun, and counter-drone capability makes it more effective per sortie than any fighter jet currently in the U.S. inventory. Speed is not an advantage here. Patience is, persistence is. The ability to orbit above a waterway for 2 hours and wait for a drone boat to show itself before it reaches a tanker is the capability that closes the gap between what carrier air power can sustain at range and what the Strait actually requires to reopen. The Apache was not sent because the Pentagon ran out of better options. It was sent because it is the better option for this specific fight. And in a conflict where Iran has spent 40 years building threats that are deliberately mismatched against the most expensive weapons in the American arsenal, sending the right tool rather than the most impressive one is exactly the kind of strategic clarity that reopening a contested waterway demands. How the A-10, the Apache, the mine hunters, and the USS Tripoli's Marines fit together into the full plan to reopen Hormuz. That breakdown is already on this channel. This video is based on publicly available reports and analysis. Some details may be subject to change.